Record on. Here we go. Oh, that's really loud. So let's talk about the final exam first, and then the rest of the time we'll look at whatever questions you all got stuck on, and go from there. So you know, it occurs to me this morning, I didn't tell everyone what the date was, or I didn't write it down. The final exam is on the 14th. Is that right? That's right. So 12/14. And in terms of reference material, you're bringing your Appendix A, which is mostly what you need for chapters 8 through 11. There is a little bit of stuff from 1 through 6. If you remember, there's some of the probability. The chapter 4 stuff is there. So there's some things there. And then you've got your flow charts. I think this is what, 9 through 11 is essentially what those are. Chapters 9 through 11. And then you've got your handwritten notes. And I think, did we say 6 pages? I mean, that's what I said this morning. So I guess that's what it is. You probably already have 3 or 4 pages written from the midterm. So like the midterm, this is Zoom proctored. This time I'm going to be a little more picky in terms of your cameras. I'm going to do what I was supposed to do and what everyone else does, and that is have the camera focused on your workspace and not you, actually. So what I want is for when you get into your breakout room, you try to do your best to set up your camera so that what can be seen is like what's on, like what you're writing with and your notes and what's on your computer screen. If you can, and I think the easiest way to do this, if possible, is to access the Zoom thing through your phone and just like have your phone set up on something pointed at the screen in your paper. So that's what I'm thinking for that. Of course, you're going to have your own breakout room. It's not technically timed, but you do have to finish once you start it. And I'll email the exam as you arrive. We're going to use the class Zoom link, except if you come during these times, at this time. So this is 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. That is going to be the tutoring hours link that not too many people have showed up for that. But that, you all know what link I'm talking about, right? So you can start here, like if you came at 10:30, you could start here and then we'll switch you over to the other class, the class Zoom link. You know, I should have written this differently. I've got here my wish list of when I'd love for you all to be done. Be done by 8:30 p.m. I'm not saying that I'm going to kick people out if it's 11:30 a.m. Just that's what I would like, but don't let that pressure you. And you do not need to come. You do not need to come at these times. I'm just saying I'm gonna turn on my Zoom stuff at 8:30 Wednesday, and I'm gonna have it on all day long, all day strong, as people can just come and go as the time fits you. And then as for the final exam itself, it's going to be sequential, just like the notes. And remember, chapter 1 is like sprinkled throughout, so it's not sequential by chapter, but by how we covered the notes. It's maybe roughly 25% the chapters 1 through 7 and 75% 8 through 11. Maybe it's 30-70 or 45-65. I don't know, but it's more chapters 8 through 11 than it is 1 through 7. So expect like 2 hypothesis tests start to finish, where you show all 6 steps, like maybe one is a single, one's a double sample. Expect 2 confidence intervals, just a blank space where it says find it, show substitution, blah 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 blah, and maybe one's a single, one's a double. Expect maybe to verify the limits or verify the conditions are met, one single, one double. So those are kind of the big chunks. And then there'll be lots of other little pieces, like what's a type 1 error, what is alpha, connections between those things. Basically the stuff you've seen on the sample final exam. The length, it's going to be like 10 pages Word document. So we looked at the sample final exam, that's 16 pages long. So it's 6 pages less than the sample final exam. So if you're like, my goodness, I need 17 hours to take this final exam, well, it's not going to be as long as what you're working on. I would say maybe the average time, which is probably the median time, is 2 hours that students have taken. I've had some students that take it in an hour and some students that take it in 5. Kind of the sweet spot is right around maybe 2 to 3 hours for a well-prepared student that's been doing the work all along and is ready to roll. So any questions about this other than, let's see, Nikki, you exclusively use your cell phone as a calculator. Is that the gross cell phone calculator that looks like this? Or are you talking about Desmos on the calculator?
No, I actually use it as the actual calculator, turn it sideways, do the whole enter everything. But I can see if my other laptop will turn on. I can try to.
Well, I mean, you can, it's fine. Just pick it up and use it and then set it back down. That's fine. And you don't like, if you can't make this work, that's okay. I'm not going to be crazy about like, you have to use your phone to set up your thing. I'm just, this is what I'd like to try for. Go ahead. Let's see, did I miss anything else in chat? Other questions about this, like what to expect on the final?
Eric, I just wanted to make sure that they understand that once you log in to take it, you said come and go. So just to make sure that once you log in to take it, then you take it in one setting.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. When I say come and go, I mean you leave when you're done taking the exam, not because I need to go work and come back and finish the last hour of time that I need. Yes, once you start, you must stop. What is that? Once you pop, the fun don't stop. Same thing here.
So when you say, can we print it off like we did last time?
Yes, but I'm not going to email it until you show up or until you're ready to take it.
I'll have to ask you about that later.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you can log in anytime between 8:30 and 8:30 p.m. But when you log in and are ready and are saying, I'm going to take it now, that's when you have to take it. And when I email it to you, that's when you have to take it. Last time I was very uncomfortable because last time I emailed it to some people and then they left and came later, and I feel uncomfortable with that. I'm feeling like I need to be a little more careful just for everyone's sake. So yeah, anytime within this time frame. The other thing I told the folks this morning, like if you forget that, like if you try to log in the class link and it says you can't get in here, he has another thing active, that means it's on the tutoring link. And if you can't remember that, totally fine. Don't worry. I'm going to be sitting here with my email open. Well, I'll be around with email open, and you can email me if you're having trouble accessing what you need to get to the exam. I blocked out Wednesday mentally and emotionally, and I'm ready. I'm expecting angry emails and frustration and tired and all kind. I'm expecting everything, and I will be so zen. I'll just be happy to see you and say, welcome, you're going to crush it. You got this and whatever. So I'm ready. I'm just talking about past lives and things. I always hated testing days because it's so stressful for everyone, me included. Any other questions on that? Those are good questions. All right. So, and feel free to ask at any point. Of course, if you prefer to message me or Cindy privately, or you have a more specific question, feel free. So we have question 8, A through D, and question 3D so far requested that we look at those. Feel free to toss stuff in. Yep, 3D, everyone should be asking because there's a typo. Maybe you caught it. This Q1, whatever you found for Q1 here doesn't match what we claimed it was here, and it's a typo. This used to be a data set for temperature, body temperature. So 97.8 degrees sounds about right for a body temperature, maybe for Q1. So use your number here for that. It should be 277. Sarah, you asked this. Do you remember, and this is for everyone, does everyone remember what Q1 is?
I know it's 25%, but I'm not sure exactly. Like, I have a tendency to look at it deeper than it needs to be. Is it just that it's 25% of the data?
Is at or below that number you calculated.
Yeah, we did that one not a lot, which is probably why it didn't stick in my head either.
Yep. It's a very, yes, it's not a, and it was way back at the beginning. So there's I don't know if you're going too deep or not deep enough. I don't know which direction it is. You do need to know that Q1 is equal to P25. And then you're using this as your interpretation. That's what you're being asked to do. Likewise, you would need to know that Q2, if I asked for that, is equal to P50, which is really equal to the median. And you could use one of these two sentence structures to answer it. And then, of course, the last one is Q3 or P75. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we would use one of those two sentences for the interpretation?
Either one. They're both the same
Okay.
thing. The one thing you need to add in is what are the observations or what are the data values? In this case, it's the length of pregnancy in days. So that's like the context that you're tossing in. Oh, yeah, good point, Cindy. I'm saying that you can log in here anytime between 8:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m., but no, that's not true. I should really erase this and say, if you log in at 8:30, boy, I'm going to want to be super angry. Really, this should be the latest you're logging in is around 6 p.m. I'm, of course, a reasonable person, so if things happen, let me know. But I'm hoping that folks are done by 8:30 p.m. is the idea. Sorry, Alexa, I did not pay close attention to your question. Okay, that's 3D. Let's see, the next question in order that they showed up is 8A through D. Yes. So this is chapter 5, probability stuff. Nice, Alexa, I like that. Early is wonderful. So Patty, this was yours. What specifically, is it just like you have no clue what to do, or is there a specific thing?
I think I struggled with this anyways in the beginning, even with the midterm, but like just to be able to know which equation I'm supposed to use for each one is what I struggle with. Because I can read for hypothesis, for some reason I'm not understanding this.
It's old school, right? So all the equations, well, the equations for probability are on page 265, the probability rules. So we've got for disjoint, if we've got two events and we got the word or, you add the probabilities. If they're not independent, we subtract the overlap. Sorry, if they're not disjoint, we would subtract the overlap. So let's go back and let's just first ask ourselves, do we think these outcomes are disjoint? So here's what you would ask yourself. Can you pick a bead that is both red and blue at the exact same time?
No.
No. So they're disjoint, which means if you're asked to pick the probability of picking a brown or red bead, it's just the sum of the two probabilities. That's it. So what's...
So you don't have to divide them by the sample size?
Oh, great question. How many beads are in the container?
There's 7.
There's 7 colors.
It doesn't
When
give us.
I added them up, I got 1.
Oh, every probability distribution, the probabilities have to add to 1. If they don't, it's not a valid distribution. Good point. So I'm messing with you all, not on purpose, but I'm wanting to help you remember that you were given the probabilities, not the frequencies.
Mm.
So there isn't anything to divide. Someone did it for you. The problem you're thinking about is right here.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Where you got like 3 master's degrees divided by however many total people are in this group.
So you're saying that question number B is we're just adding the probability for brown or red.
That's it.
That's easy.
But it's a complicated concept. Like,
Okay.
yes, the addition is not particularly difficult, but you had to remember all this stuff, disjoint and all that mess.
I have nothing else to remember ever.
So then C would be 1 minus green.
Love it. So if you're wondering where Sarah got that, if we see the word not, we're talking about a complement, and we can use it as 1 minus.
Do you want us to write out the equation before we give you the answer?
You don't have to. You could just write the answer on these because they are fairly straightforward. It is helpful, like if you wanted partial credit, although typically there isn't a lot of partial credit that can be given for these. It's like either you know how to calculate it or you don't.
So then
go ahead.
the ones for replacement is you times the white together twice.
Hey, and yes, nailed it. Do you know why we learned this?
To make me go bald.
Do you remember condition 2 for a single proportion confidence interval or hypothesis test? We said that the sample had to be independent of the population.
Right.
And either it was taken with replacement, what? That guarantees independence. Or if it was done without replacement, we had to show that the sample size is less than or equal to 0.05 times the population. That's where this showed up.
I'll be honest, it doesn't feel that way, but.
Yeah, right? Because we learned all this extra stuff that you don't really need to know. You just need to know, hey, does the probability change when we pull the size of the sample out of the whole population? Is it affecting the chances of picking other things? And we never said with replacement. We always assumed it was without replacement.
So it's just white times white.
In this case, it's just white times white. If you're all wondering, where does that show up on your reference sheets? Right here. The multiplication rule, and you can do it for 2 events or 3 events or 6,000 events, however many you want. If they're all independent, just multiply them together. Good. Whew, fun. I would say there are quite a few probability problems on here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 big problems. I will probably not put as much I'll pick maybe one of these just to check that you still have a decent idea of probability. Okay, so that was 3D, 8, A through D. And then we've got question 9D. So Misty, did you have a number for the mean and standard deviation?
I do, but they look like they don't fit. I got 0.14 for the mean and 0.079 for the standard deviation.
Ooh, I know what happened. Did
Okay,
you
good.
type in this as variable 1 and do summary stats columns?
That's exactly what I did.
But wait a minute, this is the data and this is the relative frequency. Common mistake, don't feel bad, very common mistake. It happened on the midterm on this problem for a lot of students back when we had just looked at it. So what you need to do is make sure you put this as variable 1, which, by the way, good job noting that that didn't make any sense. Right? That's important.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize it till I was trying to interpret it. And I was like,
yeah, and then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that ain't right. Okay.
So that will help, and that would help interpret. If you're wondering, would you ever remember that? Yeah, you will. It's right here on your page 264, finding the mean and standard deviation of a discrete probability distribution. Actually, you can do discrete with summary stats, but anytime you have decimals as your frequency, and anytime you're using relative frequency, you got to use this calculator thing. You are welcome. Good question. Good one to remember. It's the same thing up here, by the way. If you all calculated this mean and this standard deviation, if you didn't do the midpoints as variable 1 and either the frequency or the relative frequency as variable 2, then you have the wrong answer. And this one, you can use summary stats grouped binned data because we have whole numbers here. We have integers. Your value here for the mean should be some number right around in these areas, because that's the most frequent. Okay, I've answered all the questions, so I'm going to sign out and say, awesome, you all, great work. I'll see you at the final. Oh, 13. I'm just teasing. I'm just totally joking. Y'all, you just keep smashing questions in there in the chat, and we'll hit them all. Oh yeah. This is a great question. Did you all remember this reference sheet stuff from chapter 7? There's this. Yeah, this one. This is the one. So we're using stat calculators normal, and if we know area and we're trying to find the z-score, if we're trying to find the area, we put in the z-score and the correct inequality, and it spits out the area. We know it's a mean of 0 and 1 because it's a z-score, and we know it's a z-score because it's a z. Sarah, was that enough to get you going?
I got it. I just don't know if I did it right. But I'll look over the reference sheet and figure it out.
Let me check this. Did you do this in StatCrunch for this one?
I don't remember what I did.
Did you get 0.0? What'd you get for the area?
For the
for
last one?
Yeah.
0.109.
0.109. That sounds right.
Okay.
And then you can use those two to get this one. And then this one here, we're saying the probability that z is less than a particular number is equal to this, 0.012. You should have gotten something like -2 point something, something, something. You can tell because it's between -2, -3, -2. Awesome, Sarah. Good. And then you could add these two together subtract it from 1 and you get this one, or you could use these two z-scores and a between and get the middle. Either way.
Okay.
So let me get that right.
Yeah.
The two areas on the outside equals the area in the middle?
No.
What did you just say?
The sum of these three areas is equal to 1.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said something different. I was like, what?
No. Yeah,
I didn't think I heard that right.
Good, you didn't, unless I was talking
Okay.
crazy, which is possible. It happens.
Can we go over 26?
Definitely. Oh yeah, it's everyone's favorite. And then we'll look at 22. So in the notes, boy, I forget the page. We did this one this morning. We spent some good amount of time on it. This is, you should probably have this in your reference sheet, like this thing.
And I do.
Unless you know it already. And then the one thing that's not in this is the false positive and false negative, which might be worth adding. But so this is like your starting spot for this question, because it's always true that, okay, here we go. That this is the correct, this is type 2, this is type 1, this is correct. So the fun part.
When I'm doing these, I go through and I put like the correct decision, the type 2 error, type 1 error, and correct decision. Like I fill that part out. But I always struggle with like writing the problem out itself. Like they're not doping, but they're testing negative or they're testing positive.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's weird, right? So so these are the claim parts or the decision parts. And then this is like what is true. This is truth. Capital T truth, because we said so. So maybe we should start over here. These are always weird, right? Because we know that really we have what, less than,
Go potty. Go potty then, baby. Something to drink.
So like the question is, what is the alternative hypothesis? If we're saying the cyclist is not doping, then what would our alternative be?
They are.
Right. And it's so like these don't really apply to this type of thinking, because this is binary thinking, right? It's one or the other. Whereas what we've been doing in hypothesis testing is we're looking at numbers. Like this is a qualitative kind of thought process, which is, I think there's a disconnect between these types of problems and the ones we actually do, if that makes sense. I don't know.
So really like the null hypothesis and the alternative over on the side, like outside the box, really just gets transposed to the top of the box and to the side.
Yep.
Okay.
But this is what connects to. So really, this is taking a close look at steps 5 and 6 of the actual hypothesis test, because if we reject HO, what does that translate to? It means there's not enough evidence to support the alternative hypothesis, which is how we state it. But in reality, what we're really saying is HO is true. So we're claiming that the cyclist is not doping. That's what's happening in this box with our decision.
So if we reject HO, they are not doping?
Now they're doping, because rejecting HO means, nope, this isn't true. This one is true.
Okay.
Which is like, that's also weird, right? Because we put the negative in the statement of no change, and we put the not negative here, and then we make a negative statement.
Okay.
Just question though, on the do not reject and the reject portion of that and the decisions, isn't that about whether they can race or cannot race because they're doping or not doping?
I would assume that that's the like consequences of one or the other being true. Yes. Which I guess is what you would look at for which is the worst case.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's what, I mean, I'll just be transparent. That's what I put on mine. I put can race. And then under reject, I put cannot race.
That's so not really what we're asking in here based on what we're saying. It's just, did they dope or did they not dope? You're like going you're doing the practical significance of the test.
Well, of course I am.
Which is totally fine, because that's exactly what would happen. It's the same thing. If you're caught doping, you don't race.
Because we're talking about cyclists, performance enhancing drugs out of a race checkpoint.
Right. At a race. Oh, nice. You're right. So they stop racing. Yeah, would be the result. Which I guess so they are racing, right? I guess that would help you determine which is worse. It's not, you don't get to start the race. It's you get yanked from the race. So is it better to let a doper finish the race and then afterwards confirm that they were actually doping? Or is it better to yank a non-doper from the race and then find out later that they actually weren't doping and they should have been able to finish the race? I don't know.
Well, I put type 2, saying that the cyclist is doping, but they still raced. I don't know. To me, that would be worse.
You don't like Lance Armstrong, do you? We talked about it this morning.
Sorry, don't watch him.
Where is the reference to the outcomes in the hypothesis test? The page you have on the right?
Oh, what page is that?
Yes.
230.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Yeah, this one I don't think is very clear cut of which one is worse. I don't know, unless someone has a really strong opinion. It's not, to me, it's not like life or death. We have examples of it, like Lance Armstrong was shown to have doped. That was, I guess, proved. And he was like the top cyclist forever and a half. And then I forget, then there's people recently that were accused of doping. Well, Russians were accused of doping in the Summer Olympics. I mean, there's all kinds, this is a pretty big deal in the athletic world. I think for me, just your explanation of why you think it's worse is most important, as it's different. Like, I think with a pregnancy test, it's pretty clear cut. Like, it's better to think you're pregnant than you're not and make the lifestyle changes and do the doctor visits and whatever, than think you're not pregnant and continue to drink and smoke and whatever else you might enjoy and potentially harm the child, right? That one is pretty clear cut, in my opinion. This one, not so much.
So for the reason, could you also put, cyclist dope free, test negative, or not doping and test positive? Would that be appropriate, or would it really be more?
So you're
not for B, but up in the.
Yes. For under the type 2 and the type 1. Yes, that's precisely what you can write. And it's fine if you say race and not race, or either way. It's the problem that was done in your notes here. I think it's been a while since I've actually lectured these notes. I don't know, Cindy, do you remember what you all did? Did you put like guilty person goes free and innocent person goes to prison kind of thing?
Did do that one, and then we did one, a medical one about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, down, right. So that was really like the going the next step too, because it's just a guilty person is judged to be innocent, and an innocent person is judged to be guilty. Putting them in prison may or may not be the consequences, right? Maybe it's the death penalty. Maybe it's a slap on the wrist. Maybe it's a misdemeanor. Who knows? Maybe it's a fine. So that's kind of going to the practical thing here. Same thing here. It's either you're tested sick when you're not, or you're tested not sick when you are. Cool. Okay, so we got 24C is another question, and then we got 28.
So
Ooh.
I asked about 24C, and this always throws me. I don't know why when we get the when we have the chart already there. So, and maybe it's just throwing me when you're starting on S4, but would you put this information in StatCrunch then to see your?
No, because you already got it, unless you want that graph. And really, I don't know if you have enough information to put it in there. Maybe
yeah, because I don't know. That's why these just throw me, but that's what I was going to do was look at the graph just to make sure I had it
Gotcha.
correct. But and then I just threw a blank. So I'm like, I just moved on from it because I was just, it's silly, I know, but it just throws me to see the information.
I hear you. So what you could do if you encounter this on the final exam and feel that fear and anxiety or whatever, and you're like, I have no idea what to do, I would first go through your things. It's a mean. That's the parameter, right? It says it right here. Yeah. It's a single mean because it's a one sample. So let's go find the one sample mean stuff. And it's right here on page 276. And so because it says just do steps 4, 5, and 6, you just need to draw the graph. And really all the graph is the little T curve with the p-value in its appropriate spot in its t-value. So you just need to know what is this number, and you can copy and paste. And it turns out you do know it. It's right here. Mm-hmm. Same spot you found it before. So just draw the picture. Note it's a not equal to. So you'll copy this picture down and put in your two numbers.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming from there you're off to the races.
I was just overthinking it.
Yeah, you're good. It's easy to do that. If you wanted to put this in StatCrunch, you would have to do a little extra work. You'd have to calculate the sample standard deviation, which is the standard error of X bar times the square root of n, and then you could put in the sample mean, this thing, and your n, which is 7, and then you could reproduce this output with the graph. But that's just a lot of extra work.
But no need to do all that.
No need to do that. The information you need is sitting there.
Okay.
Let's see, there was another one, question 28. So Nikki, what are you thinking on this one?
I think you want to go up one, Eric.
Yeah, you want to
go up. Okay, it would help if I was on the right one. Okay, what are we thinking on this one?
So I remember we were going over the p-values and then the level of significance, but I got them like confused. And so I was just wondering if you could just go over like A.
Yeah, so all you need to know is what statistically significant means, or how to show if it is. And it is step 5. Is the p-value less than alpha? If that's true, then it's statistically significant. So the question is, do we know what alpha is in each of these problems?
We can figure it out.
Well, that's the other crazy thing. Do you remember what level of significance means?
No, honestly, right offhand.
It means alpha.
We have alpha.
Yeah. So we gave it all to you. We gave you the two p-values here, this one and this one. And then we asked you if it's statistically significant, and then we gave you alpha here. Part of it is it's like not in the close we're used to it being in, because this is step 2. Step 2 says select a level of significance alpha. So you're used to seeing that, like, here it is, 0.05 significance level. Oh, look, it's different. It says significance level instead of level of significance. That's kind of mean of us. There's another one here somewhere.
Okay, I got it.
Here we said level of significance. Lovely, we're different. Okay, is that, you feel good about that?
Yes, didn't put 2 and 2 together.
The answer for A, by the way, is both researchers. Okay, let's go to 22 and then to 29. So what's up with 22?
All right, I put this one down. And sorry.
You're good. No worries.
Okay. So I know that this is a 1 sample. It's a proportion. What's throwing me is when I did the calculations in StatCrunch, the p-value was just 1.
What'd you use for p-hat and what'd you use for p-naught?
That's what I was wondering. So the p-naught, I used the 55%.
Good.
And the p-hat, I used 59%.
Good.
So I'm not sure why I did that wrong.
What'd you do for your alternative hypothesis?
I did p is greater than 0.55.
Good. What'd you use for x?
Yeah, that's probably my problem. I have to get x.
Do you remember what x is in
No.
terms of StatCrunch, like where it goes in StatCrunch?
Yeah, it's under successes.
Good. Hey, did you remember that p-hat is equal to x over n?
I do.
Good. So then x is p-hat times n.
Yeah, it is. So you saying where's x? That's where I missed that small little piece.
Yeah. And this is the
Okay.
like, that's the kind of the nasty one of these when we don't give you x. Because sometimes we give you x.
Yeah, because I have n and I have the, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Good. You are welcome. Okay, Sarah, what's up with 29? Excuse me.
I just want to make sure I have my T-naught and my p-value correct.
First, tell me which test did you do? 2 sample or paired?
I did.
I'm thinking about making jokes about these married couples. Definitely independent quantitative. Come on, these are independent individuals. So Sarah, that would be the first thing to check. If you did 2 sample independent, then you're definitely wrong.
It looks like Sarah might have lost audio.
Oh. Did we lose you, Sarah?
It looks like it. She might have video, but maybe not audio. It's hard telling.
Oops. We'll get back to it. Sarah, when you get back on, just scream at us and we'll get right back at it. Oh, I'll do this. I'll mute you and then I'll ask you to unmute. Oh, I can't even ask you to mute. Oh. Oh, what happened? What did I do? Oh, I pinned you. Yeah, I think we're having some.
Yeah, she doesn't even have a microphone up, so I don't think she's
Gotcha.
has any audio.
She'll be back. Other questions, y'all. Whenever you have questions, feel free to.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Welcome back. You're like t-test. So go ahead. Which one did you do? Paired or two sample?
Paired. No.
Good. Okay. What'd you get for your t-value and p-value?
So my t-naught, I got negative 2.1628.
And your p-value?
0.0294.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Good.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the right track.
That sounds like you're doing it. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
I feel good scores on this final. I'm excited. Next one is 7F. What are we doing with 7F? Okay, that was a really offensive thing that popped up on my Steam account. I hope you didn't read it. I have nothing to do with that.
Okay, so for 7F, so just when interpreting the y-intercept.
What'd you have for the y-intercept?
So I had 0,17.958.
Good. Okay.
And so I just, again, trying to remember back to these interpretations. So that's this script, right? When
X is 0.
When X is 0. Okay. It just, when I wrote it out, it didn't make sense because when attendance is 0, the student's grade is expected to be approximately
17%.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say that out loud because.
Yeah. Nope. It sounds terrible, but isn't that what you would expect? If someone doesn't attend class, they're going to get a really bad grade. I mean, that's what a teacher.
I would expect there to not be a grade if you're going to attend 0%.
Well, maybe they turn something in digitally. I don't know.
True. Yeah.
I've got students that don't attend online classes and they do the work just fine on their own and turn it all in, and that's great. That's a fairly rare student, to be honest with you, but there's something about attendance that seems to help drive work. Cool. Good. That's a good one. Okay, now let's look at that one. Ooh. Okay, so we're looking at 9G. At least 3 times a day. So, can you list all the times of days that meet that criteria?
Okay, and at least So I can't remember here without looking at my notes, but that would be 1, 2, and 3, or you wouldn't include 3.
So at least includes 3 and
Yes.
more than
Okay.
3. So it's really 3 through 7, like Nikki
Or
said.
3 at least, yes.
So
Yes.
at least is 3 or
Okay.
greater. So either you add up all of these or you do 1 minus 1 plus 2. And these are, so we can add these together because they're independent. You can't eat, I mean, they're disjoint. You can't eat 1 time a day and also eat 2 times a day. It's either you ate once or you ate twice. That's it. Good. Let's see, we'll do 15C and then 18. Okay, so what is C asking us to do? Sarah, I think this was the one you wanted. 15C.
So 15C. Would you be able to figure it out with P hat times Q hat with the Z alpha over 2 divided by E squared?
Sounds like you're telling me that you're calculating a how many using the prior estimate formula for a single sample. So you nailed it.
Yes. And
Good.
I got it off my flow chart.
Nice. Oh,
So,
see, it's so wonderful that you're practicing with the resources that you're going to use on the exam so that when the exam comes, you're going to do the same thing. Because there's going to be a problem exactly like this on the exam, although it might be a mean question or it might be a 2-sample proportion question. And it might be prior estimate or it might not be prior estimate. You just have to read which one it's asking for, smash the stuff on there and puke out the answer. Did I say puke? Ooh, gross. But yeah, I mean, that seriously, that's what the problems you're doing are the problems you're going to do. Good,
Okay.
good. 18E, what do we got?
I brought that one. I wanted to talk about D as well, because it says
Sure.
it says to find the first quartile of the sample means in the situation. And when I see that, I keep thinking of a box plot versus
This is
yeah.
P what?
P20, P25. No.
You're right.
Oh yeah.
Is it
P25.
25 above or 25 below?
Below.
Nailed it. That's all you need.
Okay.
That's your area.
The other question for E is how, I know it's bias, fluke, and bad parameters.
Good.
But I need to know how, not all questions are going to be answered or asked the same way. What will make us clue in to know that those are the 3 things we need to, what do we need to look for in the sentence to know that that's what that is?
That's a great question.
I mean, conclusion, I thought might be one thing, but
this particular question is always going to be asked in a context like this, where we've given you a scenario and you're working with the central limit theorem, and it's either going to be for a mean or a proportion,
right.
And you verified the conditions just like you did for confidence intervals and hypothesis tests, and you're giving the shape, center, and spread, and you found a couple probabilities, and then we're like, okay, given all this, assume you got this sample and it's super unusual. So it's always going to be an unusual result with an incredibly small probability, something less than 0.05. And then what's the other clue is it's always going to be 3 explanations.
Okay.
Fluke, bad parameter, bias.
And Eric, back up to D. We do need, like, do we need to put like I did the P, X, and then with the area of 25, do you need to write out the equation there? Yeah.
That's helpful.
Okay,
me,
I did.
grading.
I wasn't sure if it was required.
Oh, I guess it is because it says P of X notation.
Yeah, I guess it does say that.
And then if you don't circle the answer, that's like minus 10 points. For sure. I mean, it's everywhere in here. I think Alana was like getting angry when she graded once because someone wasn't making it clear where the answer was.
So it really would be wrong if you don't circle it?
No, I wouldn't be that mean, but apparently I could, because it's not following directions.
Well, even though I'll probably never see you again, I'll be so mad if you do that.
Fair. You always have access to my email, so you can.
Hey, we know your tutor hours, man.
You know my tutoring hours. That's true, and the link probably won't change forever. So as long as you save that link. One note here, though, what did you use for the mean and standard deviation on C and D?
So that's 80 and 10.
Careful. You calculate, what'd you get for the spread back in B?
I did 35 greater than 30, which is normal.
From A.
From
That's
A.
good. For condition 3, good. But when you described the sampling distribution, so when you did wait for it, this is for proportions. When you did this, what did you state for spread?
You want us to say approximately normal?
No, for spread, it's a calculation. So, that's shape. Nope, you're good. Approximately normal. That's good. Center is 80. But what's the standard deviation? What's the standard? Will's saying 13.52. I'm going to just a shot in the dark and think, Will, that you did 10 divided by the square root of 35. Does that look familiar to anyone?
That's what I did, but that's not the answer I came up with.
Oh, okay. Then maybe.
So I might.
Oh, I get 1.69. So Will, where did you get that number? Is that 80 divided by the square root of 35? I'm guessing. Oh, that is 80 divided by square root of 35. So just make sure you use the standard deviation instead of the mean in that calculation. So the reason I ask about this is because when you calculate these two things, you're not using mu equals 0 and standard deviation equals 1, because these are not standard normal. This is not a standard normal distribution. This is a distribution that has a mean of this, a population that has a mean of this and a standard of deviation of this. And we're selecting samples of size 35, and we're calculating the mean of all of those samples. So that means you need to use these two numbers for your mean and standard deviation in your calculations here. It's a common mistake I see on the final exam.
So 80 and 1.69.
Yes. Although, did it say how many decimals did it say to give? It didn't say anywhere, so it's fine.
Well, it does.
Does it say 4 somewhere?
No.
So it didn't say anywhere up here. I mean, like the more decimals you give here, like the more accurate result is. Although at some point it becomes like not. There's like diminishing returns. There's not a big difference. Does that make sense? Is everyone feeling good about that?
Well, no, because I did it wrong.
So do you know where you would go into StatCrunch to run that? To get that probability? Do you remember?
Stat calc norm.
Good. Good. And then notice, so this on page 268, that's where this stuff is put out, and that's where it's showing you need to make sure you put in the mean and the standard error of your X bar. not 0 and 1.
Well, I put 80 and 10.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's not too terrible. That would be if you were collecting samples of size 1. Let's see. That was 18. Oh, okay. So I think, have I answered every question that someone's put in the chat? I think so. If I've missed you, just put it in there again.
Could we go over question 4, Eric?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was remembering this correctly.
Oh, yes. So what are you thinking on this one?
So, where I was struggling a little bit was with E.
So let's find Midwest. Highest is another word for max, maximum.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like approximately 18.
Nice.
Would that
Good.
be right? Okay.
15%. Good.
I just didn't, even though I read the question several times, I didn't read it right.
It's a weird, I mean, it's kind of a weird way to ask it. Approximately, what is the percentage Mexican of the highest state? And then the other thing that's weird is that we have, we've changed between we're saying Hispanic and Mexican means the same thing, which I believe that is not true. So we've kind of mixed language up. These should all say Hispanic because this is just a graph of states residents who are Hispanic. And then highest state, that just doesn't seem to make sense.
So then on F, second quartile percentage.
Q2 is that weird one that we never say. It's really median.
Median, okay,
which is P50, so it's that middle line.
Okay.
Hey, Shelby, what are you thinking with question 5?
I don't know what it's asking.
So let's see. The question is here. So really we're wondering, really the question is, what does it mean to be representative of the population? So this is from chapter 1 stuff. And how do we get a representative sample? What's like the key thing that every sampling method has to ensure that our sample represents the population we're drawing it from?
It's random.
Nailed it. We need some sort of random process. We need randomness. So look through these and ask yourself, do we have randomness happening? I mean, I don't think America Online really exists. I think it kind of does. I don't know. They ran it. So this is in the past. An online poll of its internet subscribers and asked this question: should the World Trade Center towers be rebuilt? We had 1 million responses. This many people said yes. This many said yep, no. And this many said that it was too soon to decide. So I mean, this is like 1/300th of the population of America. So that's a pretty huge sample. And if you think about the proportion conditions, C3 of normality, we're looking at the sample size being less than or equal to 0.05 of the population. Well, this one might not actually be met, to be honest with you, because this might be too large of a sample, which points out part of the problem of this survey. But I remember back in 2016 when there was presidential debates between the then candidates, and I watched like one of the first ones. And afterwards, I went to Fox News and CNN. They were both running polls of like who won the debate, like if that's even a thing, right? And I took each poll multiple times just to see if I could, and I could. So I answered a couple times on each of the polls. And surprise, surprise, the Fox News poll said that the Republican candidate won the debate, and the CNN poll said that the Democrat candidate won the debate, which was a great measurement of sampling bias, right? Because folks who watch CNN tend to be Democrats. Folks who watch Fox News tend to be Republicans, right? That just tends to be how it is. The other thing is multiple responses from the same respondent. You could code a robot to answer that as many times as you wanted. So Shelby, are you getting the point here? I'm kind of dancing around the answer.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. This is a convenient sample, so it's incredibly biased. So it's garbage. We just throw this away. This means nothing. Really. Cool. Good. I haven't missed anyone else's questions. Cool. Keep asking, y'all.
Okay, can we go back to question 4? I know you went over the bottom portion of it, but I'm actually kind of curious if because I know it's got like the whiskers and the outliers and stuff are on there, the little ones.
Mhm.
And so my question was, we include the minimum to the max for the IQR, is that correct? Everything in between?
No, IQR is just Q1 and Q3.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The range includes the minimum and the
range.
maximum.
That's what it was. Okay.
So like the South has this range, and the and this IQR. So in terms of measurement of spread, you can see why range is just garbage, because it makes it look like there's just crazy variation in South, but in reality, it's not. It's the second least varied group of states in terms of Hispanic population.
Okay.
Can we go over some of the problems on 11?
I just asked for that one. That's funny.
That is great minds think alike. Okay. I'm not going to do this annoying thing where I make you fill in the stuff. I mean, I think it's helpful to keep track of, keep in mind where things are coming from, but this will all be filled in if I give you a problem like this. Yuck. 65, what?
87.
Thank you. This one's worse.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
This is the one that matters the most, unfortunately.
I know.
160.
It's 160.
Oh, look at that. 160.
I had it.
Nice. Okay, so let's see. Thanks, Will. Good, everyone. So D was the first like specific one. What's the thought on D?
So I didn't get that one. So I was looking for the information on that one, but I could not find the difference.
Where in the book?
Yeah, disjoint and not disjoint.
So like where those were defined is chapter 5, section 2 is where we got the definitions of disjoint and not disjoint. Independence was 5.3.
There it is. Okay.
The main thing for this is, well, there's two things. First off, is this a classical probability or an empirical probability? We should start there.
Empirical.
And anyone can answer you. Go ahead.
Empirical?
Yeah, why?
Because it's real life.
Real life. Well, so is poker.
But it's just different.
It's because
it's a whole different category.
It's because it's data from real life, right? Like
Oh,
poker,
data
we
from-
can play
okay.
over and over and over. We know all the outcomes. They're never, ever going to change. Whereas when a manager rates an employee, employees come and go, and how many we have changes. And so these numbers can all change any given year. So we collect a set of data and we use the data for predictive nature. It's like estimates. It's kind of like using a model to estimate values, like our regression models. It's just the best we can do. Okay, so how do we calculate empirical probabilities? That's 5.1. If you're looking in your notes.
The part over total.
There you
or
go.
something like that.
Yep.
That's it. The number of outcomes or the number of observed observations in the data set or from the table divided by the total number of observations. Here, it's on page, where are you, friend? Here we go. Page 137. Nope, that's classical. Try again. Simulation, fail. Subjective, fail. Okay, empirical must have been first, maybe? I don't know. I remember empirical. Okay, it was first. Frequency of E divided by number of trials. Okay, so if question E, oh wait, what was the question? We were asked about D. I'm sorry. So, okay. Can a single manager be given multiple ratings? Yeah, I can see why you would say yes. Could I be rated good and poor by the same rater at the same time? Right. So the fact that I can't have these two ratings at the same time means these have to be disjoint outcomes.
Okay.
Does that make sense, y'all?
Now it does.
Okay. Okay. So in your reference sheet for definition of disjoint or not disjoint, you should be thinking, first off, when we do a single selection, that's a key for the disjoint thinking. We're picking one thing. And the question is, can that one thing have multiple characteristics at the same time? So we could also look at education. Is education disjoint or not disjoint? So can you have a master's degree and a bachelor's degree?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to say that these numbers are probably disjoint because the way like at Jackson College, the way they look at education is they look at your highest level. They don't care about anything below because they know you have it. So like I have a master's degree, they're not going to count me in the group of people with bachelor's degrees as well as some college, as well as high school diploma, because the fact that I have a master's means I must have done those things as well. Not always true. I guess watch Catch Me As You Can, and he made up everything, but whatever. So in reality, these numbers are going to be disjoint as well, because of just the way the company's going to count them. Are there other things? So is everyone good on how to calculate E, F, G, and H then?
So I was having a problem with H. So I know I use the 39 total in good.
Okay.
And the bachelor's total, 73. Okay. But I
Oh.
know there's more to it. And that's where I'm stuck.
Check out my picture. Oh. Okay, check out my, curse words. Get ready. Check out my picture. What do you see in my picture that is maybe interesting?
It's all the bachelors.
Is there any number counted twice?
Oh, the 24. So
yeah,
I have to write
right.
24.
So these two things, having a bachelor's degree and being rated good, are not disjoint. Right? They have overlap.
Okay, so the overlap you have to subtract out of it.
You got it. Nailed it. Good.
And then you still put it over the total.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. I mean, there's two ways you can do it. Some people like to write out, like if you look at the reference sheet, some people write out each individual fraction. Because the way the equation writes it is probability of event E, probability of event F minus the probability of E and F. Or you can just add up the amounts of E and F and subtract the extra between the two and put that over 160. Either way, it's up to you.
Okay. Okay, okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Did I tell you all, I'm forgetting what I said this morning in here. Did I tell you all that for probability, there probably will be only like one of these problems? Because mostly what we needed probability for was understanding the area under the curve, and then that condition 2 for independent sampling from the population. We needed some of the ors and ands, I suppose.
I was going to say, if you feel free to leave those out, and that would be wonderful.
There'll be one or two. It'll be like 5 or 6% of the overall grade. So it won't break you if that's the part you're weak on.
So you guys, while we have a second here, I did want to mention that I went into your My Stat Lab this morning, and I just any assignment that you hadn't started yet, just so that you knew what your grade would look like in my stat lab. I replaced that grade with a 0. Even though you haven't until tomorrow night, you can get in and do anything in my stat lab. So those zeros can be changed. You can get in there and do the assignments, but I wanted you to see what your grade would be if you didn't do the assignments that you had not started yet. So if you get into my stat lab and you see zeros for any assignment that you had not started yet, don't get alarmed. I just wanted people to see those incomplete assignments, what the grade would look like. And obviously, if you guys have already finished your my stat lab, you know what your grade's going to be. I think I might have, yes, I did. I took your current my stat lab grade, and I think I put it into my O33. I'm saying that, but I don't even know if that's true or not. I might not be right. I think I did though. I think I changed your O33 grade, your my stat lab grade, to whatever your current one was, so that you could see what it was. Because remember, it's 25% of your O33 grade, but it's only 10% of your 133. Eric will pull that grade over, the homework grade over, and use 10%. But like I said, you guys have until tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. to do whatever you're going to do in my stat lab. And after that, it won't let you work past the due date.
So Cindy, if we have time and we want to fix some of those questions that we didn't get, can we do them again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes, you have until tomorrow night to get in.
Even if I finish them all, but I'm like, okay, I don't really like that.
Yeah,
grade.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Anybody can do anything to any section right now that you want to do.
Cool.
I just wanted to kind of show you what you would be if you didn't do anything at this point.
Now, what about your grades, Eric? Because my grades are not in there like you promised. So now.
Did I promise that?
You did. You did.
You
did.
I think I got chapter 9 graded for everything. So I got one class all the way through chapter 11 projects graded. And I have chapter 9 project graded for 7 out of the 9 people that turned it in for the other class. And then my daughter woke up and I would have had them all done tonight. So yes, I have been drinking coffee all day. So tonight is going to be a great night for you all.
Now, you told me you were going to skip fun over the weekend to do this.
It did not happen.
I think you chose fun.
My support system, well, actually I started with a different class and I got a bunch of that done. And then my support system preferred fun as well.
So I'm screwed because I'm in the wrong class.
Are you? You're not. Really? Let me see.
Mine are not in there.
So I have a bunch of assignments I turned in for you, Eric, that I don't know if you had gotten them, not gotten them. Do you want a list?
No, you're good. Nicole, yours is in there.
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9's in there, yeah.
There's like 40 other assignments waiting.
Oh, what, the worksheets? Oh, they're just all going to be hundreds, so don't worry.
I just wanted to see what I got on my chapter projects just to see.
Yeah, your chapter 9 project's in there. And chapter 10 will be great. So they're going to be graded tonight.
Okay.
Right after this is done, I'm going to finish grading those. It doesn't take me too long. And chapter 11 will be graded. And Nikki, yes, those you don't need to email as long as you've uploaded them. They will be. Let me make sure I clicked out of those grades. They will go in. or they will be
Okay.
updated.
And then I've got a few more for both of you guys to finish sending in tonight, and then I think I'm good.
And then you're caught up. Awesome. That's going to feel great.
As good as it's gonna get.
So you guys sound like that you are doing very well on this. So tomorrow night, like the day class still has quite a bit that they did not finish. You guys are, it seemed like that you're have more of this completed than they did. They were still really kind of working on it this morning. So tomorrow, if you guys want to get on, we can talk through any other things that you guys might have. But really, like, if you guys are good, I don't know that how much more that, I mean, I'm happy to get on if you guys have my stat lab questions, whatever you guys want to do. But we can talk more about this if you have, like, you start looking at it and you still like, oh, I got this question. I'll be there.
Yeah, I feel like
you guys are kind of quiet. Like we feel like I got it.
Yeah, it seems like you are good.
Without a doubt, I will have more questions. I promise.
That's fine. Yes.
That's totally fine.
And maybe that's it. Maybe you haven't completed everything yet. And so, you know, maybe you're not asking yet because you haven't done it, and that's fine. Then get on, you know, tomorrow and we'll go through and check them out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I just have a few questions that I need to finish, like hit and miss throughout, because I didn't get it all done over the weekend. But for the most part, I think it's okay.
How's it feeling as you're working through them?
I really can't remember anything before midterm.
Yeah.
That's to be expected. That's why you're doing this. And it's coming back as you're looking at it, right? You're like, oh yeah, those probabilities. And means multiply, or means add, right? Like, we haven't done that specific stuff first.
I want to do everything as a hypothesis theory.
Right. You're like, come on, step 6, let's do it.
Yeah, honest.
Remember, that's like 50 to 75% of the exam is going to be that stuff.
Good.
And you all have been doing that and crushing it and practicing it. So when you get to the final exam and turn to the very last page, it will look like this, or like this, or it'll be a proportion to sample one, right? Like, it's just going to be a blank page, fill it in.
What I had recommended to them is that to get that confidence right when they get it is to turn to the back, do the hypothesis confidence intervals, maybe work from the back forward if they feel, you know, they need that confidence right from the start, because they got this stuff. They got the hypothesis test. So I think Peg told me that was what she was going to do.
I think that's a great idea. Yep. Same thing as the
So
project.
I was thinking about that this morning, and that's like against my OCD nature of everything that I do. But I'm like, if they're telling you to do it, listen to it, Nicole.
Well, actually, it's a lot of past students have like emailed me afterwards, after like I've said to do that, and they've said, Cindy, you don't know how much that helped, because they did get that confidence right from the beginning. That and honestly, I think, I don't really remember, but like those hypothesis tests and stuff are ones that are usually worth like a lot of points.
10 to 20 points. Yep. Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Each. So there's two of them, and they're like 25 to 30 points. Usually the final exam is out of 150 points. So what, let's take the maximum. Well, that's a little too much. 30 divided by 150, that's 20% of the final exam grade is just, can you do 2 hypothesis tests? And
that's not including verify, right?
And that's not including verify. It's just the steps 1 through 6. Yeah. Yes. And you know, when I grade these, it's either all or nothing for students. It's either you've been practicing or you've done nothing. And that's what I see on the exams. It's a blank page or just some random scribbles like an alpha and something, or just a beautiful laid out steps 1 through 6. And you all that have been doing it, that's what you're going to do. You're going to sit down and be like, here it is. And there's almost nothing I can find that's wrong, even though I try. I will say the very first page almost always looks like this. It's going to be a frequency distribution where you have to fill in this mess too. Oh, and don't forget, I'm going to have all the data sets typed up for you. I'll send you, like I did last time, I think that was okay, right? A Word document with clickable links for each separate data set, so that you don't have to do any typing. Okay, we don't mean to interrupt your work, or if you're like, we've had enough, we need to go do push-ups. I am available tomorrow, 8:30 to 11 as well. I'm just hanging out, and then I'm going to be on campus, or I might be on campus. Virtually 8:30 to 11-ish. I'm doing in-person work on campus. If you want to come to that class from 11 to 1. There's like 10 students that show up for that. And then Wednesday, we do it. It's been fun, hasn't it?
I was just thinking, I'm such a weirdo. I said to my kids, I feel sad. It's our last class.
Right? I had a math professor that he was the dude that would come in with his toothbrush like in his front shirt pocket, and when he got writing on the chalkboard, his head would get a shaking, and he did a blessing over the class on the last day and like broke into tears, and like it was kind of touching. He was also like a really terrible instructor, but he had great heart. Yeah, it's been fun, you all. I've really enjoyed this. You all have been a fantastic class. I would say I'm sorry that this has not been my A game in terms of keeping up with grading and all the rest. So I hope you felt supported enough in other things, at least, that you've been able to find success. And mostly, like, there's not much I can do to help you all. You all have just done it. So great work. And I know whatever you all are going to do, you're going to be successful. Hopefully, like great nurses or wherever you go beyond here.
Well, I feel like my classes going forward are going to be so boring.
I know. I'm taking accounting the next term. I'm taking accounting. After this, I'm thinking, I got that in the bag.
Yeah.
I hope.
It's just attention to detail from what I hear. It's like strange math.
I've been in finance for 20 years. Accounting should be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll snooze through it. Yeah.
My question about tomorrow, about the because I won't be here tomorrow, but my question for the thing is, I wanted to take my test during the day at home, but I'd have to go print off my thing at work. Is that too much lag of a time? Should I just stay at work and do my test?
You just tell me when you're going to do that, and I'll send it to you.
Okay. And then I'll just hop in the car and come home and
I'll time you and make sure that it all matches up and everything.
10 minutes.
Oh, but don't drive
10
fast.
minutes, man.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Nicole? I called Nicole on Saturday. I was like totally blanked out on something.
Is it possible to go through a hypothesis test again? Like, I don't know, number 22. Like from start to finish. I just kind of want to see if I'm close.
So, Nikki, which one do you feel more concerned about? a 2 sample or a single sample?
Honestly, it's weird. I think the 2 sample, I'm good. I get it. But for some reason, I'm getting hung up on the single one, which doesn't make sense because it's less than what the 2 sample is.
So are you working on this one and stuck on a particular part?
I'm working on it. I've got my I got my step 1 done.
What do you have for that?
I've got the HO P equals 0.55 and the HA, quick cat, HA is P is greater than 0.55.
Good. Okay. Nailed it.
What's going on? And then the step 2, I got the level of significance, or the thing is 0.05.
Good.
And then it's step 3. I've got like notes everywhere. That is what I'm on currently.
What are you using reference material to work on this?
I am, and that's what I'm trying to grab out right now. I just had it, but I was just also at the same time when you guys were talking, getting all my worksheets that I have to scan and submit. So I put stuff all over the place.
Of course.
Okay.
I would, page 275 is where this particular test is in the appendix.
That wasn't even the thing. I was trying to use my flow chart.
Oh, and the flow chart will do it. Well, the flow chart will tell you to get to here, right? Is that the point how the flow chart works?
As far as look for, and then it gives us the things in the, well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm a big mess right now.
No worries.
Where did it go? Okay, you said what page was that?
Page 275.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so then I gotta get the test statistic, and I get the formula, the P hat minus P naught over the SC and the P naught.
So that's the formula. Good. Do you know where this? Oh, go ahead.
I didn't see anything.
Oh. So do you know where to go from there? Do you know what to do in? So I think really for step 3, sometimes asking you to put the formula in might be more distracting than helpful. Because really, to me, what's important is that you know what you have to find to put into StatCrunch.
Okay.
So I would go to StatCrunch and figure out what do you have to put in there. And I'm just going to tell you that it's X and N and the hypotheses that you have. Those are the 3 things you have to put in StatCrunch.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. In fact, I'll pull it up. How about I pull up the thing? So it's proportion stats, 1 sample. They're always with summary. So we need the number of successes, which is X, the number of observations, which is N, and then we need our hypotheses from step 1 that we put in here. So the correct inequality and the correct number. So I would encourage that you do this part first and get the output, and then go back and maybe write down the formula and the substitution.
Okay. For the X, when I had to find it, I came up with 584.65. Like, is that kind of close?
I get 627.
Okay, I did the wrong number. I did the 55 instead of 59.
So do you know why I used the 59?
Because it was the second one.
I would be careful because it might not always be the second one. It's because it's the p hat, and this is the one you used in the hypothesis. So don't ever use this number in this calculation over here.
Gotcha.
You place it in StatCrunch, but you use the sample one over here.
Okay, so then I just gotta find the standard error.
Can you remind me when the sample final exam is due? Is it due
Yesterday.
tomorrow or Wednesday?
You know, Dirk. As long as just Wednesday's fine. Before you take the exam would be the idea. I mean, I'm assuming everyone's going to have it done before then too. I'm not going to look at it really until after. I only probably look at it until after I grade the final exam, even.
Okay.
So just as long as it turned in at some point.
Okay.
I will.
Good night. Yeah, good sleep. That's the other suggestion. Tuesday night, good sleep, lots of water.
Okay, so I entered it in and I got, so the SC, that's the standard error, is that correct? Okay, I did not do that. So maybe I did not enter that right. I did not enter that right.
Is this what you have at the top of your thing? One sample
It
proportion?
is what I did the confidence interval.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. Instead of the hypothesis test.
The hypothesis test, like I should have. So, Okay. It's hard to carry up both. Okay, so I got that entered, and then so it would be the standard error, which is 0.015. How many decimals are we going? Where's that at?
Well, so mostly what's important is your z-stat and your p-value.
Oh my gosh, okay.
But you're right. Your standard error, you can do like maybe 2 or 3 decimal places. If like, so if you're doing you're talking about the formula and substitution. So you could
That's
do like,
what I was. Oh my gosh.
you know,
Everybody wants to bother me all at once.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so I
That's
got
how it
the-
goes, right?
Every time. Okay, so I got the z-stat, and then I got the p-value, and that's actually going to be for the graph for number 4.
That's right.
Okay, and then which ends up p-value is that 2.6. Okay, 5. The alpha is
Oh, I
large
got the wrong numbers in here.
than the p-value.
There we go. Now I got the right numbers in there. Did you have a p-value of 2.6 or z-stat of 2.61095338?
I had 2.6214.
Did you use 627 or did you use 6?
I did 627.17.
Well, it's interesting that it lets you do partial. You can't have part of a person. So it should
Oh,
be 627. I mean, I don't think you'd get that. I don't know that I would count that wrong necessarily. But X should always be a whole number for the number of successes. It's interesting that they allow decimals in here.
And the p-value is smaller than the alpha. Is what I got. So then, let's see, where's that sheet at?
Nice.
So then we reject it.
Good.
And then for the last part, to explain, because we're doing all of these, correct? So the last part for step 6, so there's enough evidence to support the claim that
I missed it.
the U.S. adults favor stricter gun control.
That's it. That's it. So in other words, what we're saying is this 59% didn't happen by chance. Opinion has changed. We have evidence to support it, at least. Good.
Okay. I think maybe that was my.
Can we look over 14B?
Yes. Haha. So, critical values on the reference sheet.
So is that the one on 271?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And since it's a T, it's the
The
T
stat
calculator.
bulk and T.
Yep. And because it's a confidence interval, you go to between.
Between. Okay.
The only other thing to make sure you remember is what's up with this DF. Do you remember how to calculate that?
How do you recognize if you stay on the normal side or the between? How do you decipher what? How?
Great question.
No.
Is it a, go ahead, Cindy.
No, I was going to say, Patty, tell us. She's laughing. You're muted, Patty.
What am I telling?
Do you remember when we did these on Thursday, you kept on saying, Cindy, put between, put between, put between.
Put between. That's right. Calc normal between.
Always for confidence intervals, always. That's between, always, always, always. Because confidence intervals have two critical values. For up here, we did normal because we were only dealing with or finding one critical value.
Okay. Okay.
There was one other spot where we only did one. Like these, not those, sorry. These we did the normal because we're only finding one value.
So because we're finding for 2, we need the between.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the DF, that's n-1, correct?
Good.
Okay.
Oh, and it does say it right here. Although, oh yeah, good, it does. I thought it just said degrees of freedom, but it does say on the reference sheet.
Where's that at? Where is that at?
On 271, under the critical T values.
Okay.
I guess the other thing to note is anytime we're using critical values, or anytime we're finding critical values, we always just use the between function. So if it says critical value, it's a between. Okay. If it says find the probability that Z is greater than or less than some number, then it's a normal.
That makes sense.
So we got 5 minutes left. Oh, whoops, there was a question. Oh, good night, Hope. Although maybe you're gone. We got 5 minutes left. Is there a particular question that someone wants to look at?
Nope, I'm gonna work on this and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
You too.
Hey, Nikki.
Okay, I'm working on 3D of that interpret of the Q1. In some of our other samples, it gives us a percentage, but this is only giving us the Q1 number. And the interpretations we've done in the past is with percentages. I mean, I know Q1 is 25%. Writing the interpretation, I'm struggling with how to do that correctly.
So that's that page 101. If you want the sentence structure to put in your reference sheet.
I have it.
So you would say that the Q1, that it is telling you the percent, the 25. So 25% of pregnancies are less than or equal to 277 days.
Okay, so it's easy. I can say the 200. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That number is just the value of Q1.
Okay. Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Well, y'all, I guess let's do it.
I'm good.
Patty, I will make sure I record tomorrow for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm taking Wednesday off so I can just review everything.
Yep.
Debating on when I'm going to take it. But I have another class.
You'll be good.
Class
So
that I'm in.
Don't review too much. I think you're ready. So don't like review all day and then say, I'm going to take it now. I think you got it.
Well, here's the thing. It's in doing the calculations, it's like a hypothesis or a confidence interval. It's the same thing, depending if it's a proportion or a mean that you put in the system. So I get that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. That's it. It's been great. Y'all want to have coffee, call me, text me, send me a message. I'd love to meet y'all.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, seriously, I'm not joking. And I don't drink coffee, so it can be anything else. All right, good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Patty.
Night,
you
Patty.
too.
Patty, happy studies.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night,
Good night,
Nicole.
Nicole. I'm gonna go
I'll see you
grade.
guys tomorrow.
I'll send you an email when it's done. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm gonna be up waiting for it all night.
Refresh, refresh, refresh.
I just have a question about grades.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Here, let me stop recording just in